These 3 hidden movements can make you feel decades younger in just a few days. You are about to discover body codes that reactivate longevity circuits that have been dormant for years within your somatic structure. These primitive patterns do not come from the world of gyms. They have existed since before any civilization and remain imprinted in the deepest layers of your cellular memory. Every time you reach for support to stand up or feel stiffness when you squat, your body is losing autonomy and accelerating an invisible biological clock. Pay attention now to the signals your body sends when you perform basic everyday movements. This is the first sign that your fountain of youth is closing, but it can be reopened. What you are about to discover goes far beyond any method you have ever known. The transformation begins when you learn how to activate 3 specific codes that restore your body's memory of what it means to be truly young. 3 movements that almost no one knows exist, but that work as master keys to real anti-aging. The process of physical deterioration does not begin where you might think. It begins the moment your body forgets how to move. Modern life has buried 3 essential movement patterns under layers of chairs, couches, and surfaces that have replaced the ground. These patterns are not techniques invented by modern specialists. They are pure genetic inheritance, encoded in your cellular structure for thousands of generations. When you lose them, you also lose your body's ability to regenerate naturally. What you perceive as physical limitation is, in fact, a loss of somatic memory. Now, you are going to recover that lost memory and witness how your body responds when it remembers its true nature. Over the next few weeks, you will notice muscles releasing where there was once tension, joints regaining range you thought was lost forever. Your breath will shift from an anxious chest to the center of your personal power, and you will feel a clean energy flowing where there was once only fatigue. This is not an empty promise. It is a return to the sacred shape of the body temple. In Hermetic traditions, the body has always been seen as a microcosm of the universe, where every movement reflects a greater cosmic law. When you perform these 3 primitive patterns, you are not just moving muscles and joints. You are awakening vibrational codes that have been silenced by a sedentary life. The transformation happens because you are restoring the original order that your body recognizes as truth. Stephen Porges showed that the nervous system follows an evolutionary hierarchy. When primitive movement patterns are activated, the ventral vagus nerve takes control, shifting the body from defensive alertness to active regeneration. Each code works as a specific key that unlocks neurological circuits that have been dormant for decades. Robert Schleip mapped how the fascia, a network that connects muscles, organs, and bones, works as the body's memory system, instantly reorganizing itself when it recognizes ancestral movements. Pressure receptors in the feet send direct signals to the brainstem, informing the body that it is safe and grounded. This information travels through the spinal cord to the prefrontal cortex, releasing hormones that reverse chronic inflammatory processes. The first code releases fascial tension in the posterior chain, allowing internal organs to return to their natural positions and function optimally. The second integrates strength, balance, and neurological coordination, creating a symphony of cellular communication that interrupts the invisible aging process. Longitudinal studies show a direct correlation between the ability to perform these movements and functional longevity. Researchers have documented that people who can stand up from the ground without using their hands have a significantly lower risk of mortality. Each movement activates specific biochemical cascades, release of BDNF, reduction of cortisol, and increase in heart rate variability. Now, you are going to learn exactly how to perform each of these sacred patterns. The first code awakens the root of all vitality. The natural deep squat acts as a gateway for autonomic regulation because it reconnects you to the gravitational pull of the earth. Place your feet parallel, hip-width apart, with the soles fully planted on the ground, as if they were suction cups drawing in earth energy. Let your hips drop naturally, keeping your spine long like a rope extending from your sacrum to the top of your head. Your knees should point in the same direction as your toes, never collapsing inward. Go down only as far as is comfortable. Forcing depth creates defensive tension that blocks the neurological benefits. Keep your weight in your heels, creating stability that allows the nervous system to recognize a sense of fundamental safety. Rest your hands on your lower abdomen and breathe deeply through your nose, feeling the internal pressure expand against your palms with each inhale. This abdominal pressurization massages internal organs, releases a locked diaphragm and activates the ventral vagus nerve, shifting your body from alertness to regeneration. Stay in this posture for 4 to 6 full breath cycles, noticing how your leg muscles begin to warm up and your mind naturally quiets. With each exhale, imagine invisible roots sprouting from your feet and diving deep into the earth. Your ankles begin to open, your hips bloom like flowers unfolding, and a solid sense of stability spreads through your entire body. If you need support, hold onto a table or doorway in front of you, gradually reducing your reliance on it as the days go by. The sign that it is working. You feel warmth in your legs, ease in your breath, and a mental stillness that requires no effort. During the first few weeks, practice only 3 repetitions per day. Your body needs time to remember this ancestral language. Transformation happens in layers. First comes the return of joint mobility, then bodily confidence, and finally the ability to stay longer in the posture without discomfort. Each session rebuilds neural connections that were lost through a sedentary life, reactivating self-regulation circuits that operate far beyond the conscious mind. The second code unlocks the vital axis through conscious hip hinging. Stand with your knees slightly relaxed and place your hands on your iliac crests, the bones you can feel on the sides of your waist. The movement begins here in the hips, never in the lower back, which should stay in its natural curve. Tilt your torso forward like a door swinging on its hinges, keeping your spine long from the sacrum to the base of the neck. Your shoulder blades settle naturally, creating openness in the chest, while your weight is evenly distributed between both feet. With each inhale, consciously expand your back ribs, feeling the air fill the rear of your ribcage and release tension built up between your vertebrae. The exhale should be longer than the inhale. This activates the parasympathetic system and allows the fascia in the posterior chain to stretch like a wave, traveling from the base of your skull to your heels. Notice how the solar plexus, located between your sternum and your navel, begins to open and relax as you breathe this way. This area holds deep emotional tension, which dissolves when the body senses safety in movement. Hold the posture for 4 to 6 full breath cycles, focusing your attention on the feeling of length that emerges without forcing the range. Your posterior muscles begin to release layer by layer. Your internal organs return to more natural positions, and a sense of inner spaciousness settles where there was once compression. When returning to a standing position, do so slowly, vertebra by vertebra, as if you were stacking blocks of light. The sign of correct execution. You feel your back opening from within, your weight evenly grounded through your feet, and a calm alertness that requires no mental effort. Regular practice of this code unloads years of myofascial tension built up from defensive postures and reintegrates the head, neck, and spine as a functional unit. Organs that were compressed by shallow breathing regain natural mobility. The diaphragm is freed from chronic contractions, and the nervous system relearns the difference between necessary protection and unnecessary vigilance. Each repetition rebuilds the body's trust in its ability to bend without breaking, to yield without collapsing. The third code represents the ultimate test of physical autonomy, rising from the ground without using your hands. Begin seated on the floor in a comfortable position. You can sit cross-legged on your side or kneeling. Choose whatever feels most natural for your body. The key is to keep your spine long from the very beginning of the movement, as if an invisible string were gently pulling the top of your head toward the sky. Your feet connect to the floor like coiled springs storing energy, ready to propel your body vertically. The impulse begins in the center of your body, never in the limbs, creating a wave of movement that flows from the core to the extremities. Exhale at the exact moment you begin the effort. This release activates the deep core muscles and stabilizes the internal pressure needed for a smooth movement. The cerebellum calculates thousands of balance adjustments per second. The motor cortex coordinates complex muscle sequences, and the vestibular system maintains precise spatial orientation. It is a neurological symphony that only happens when the body fully trusts its ability to support itself. Practice 3 different variations: cross-legged, side-sitting, and kneeling, adjusting your range based on your current condition. What matters is not immediate perfection, but conscious progression. In alchemical traditions, rising from the ground symbolizes transmutation, the transformation of density into lightness, of lead into gold. Each time you perform this transition, you reaffirm your essential nature, embodied awareness, capable of dancing between earth and sky. Regular practice preserves the body's memory of independence and vitality, maintaining neural connections that ensure functional autonomy for decades. It is the difference between aging with sovereignty over your own body or becoming dependent on external support for basic actions of life. Start slowly, honoring your current limitations without surrendering to them. If you cannot do it on the first attempt, use minimal support, just enough to complete the movement safely. Each week, gradually reduce the assistance until your body remembers its original capacity. Success is not measured by speed, but by growing coordination between intention, breath, and integrated action. At 61 years old, Penelope realized she had lost a kind of autonomy she once took for granted. During a family lunch, as she tried to rise from her seat at the table, her hands instinctively reached for the chair's arms for support. The moment was uncomfortable, especially when her 8-year-old grandson jumped out of his seat with an ease she no longer had. That night, she tested other movements and confirmed her suspicions. Squatting was impossible without pain in her knees, and bending down to pick something up required elaborate strategies. It was her younger sister, a retired physical therapist, who told her about 3 movement patterns that few people knew about. Simple movements, she explained, but ones that reawakened something deep within the body. Penelope had an immediate sense that it made perfect sense. Her body recognized the truth before her mind could fully grasp it. For 3 months, she practiced the codes religiously. The deep squat came back first. One morning, she simply lowered down to her heels without a second thought. The hip hinge brought relief to back pain she had assumed was permanent. But it was the third code that changed everything. On the day she managed to stand up from the living room floor without using her hands, Penelope cried, not from pain, but from recognition. Her body had begun speaking to her again, in a language she thought she had forgotten forever. 6 months later, she cancelled the knee surgery she had scheduled. Today, she walks long distances without fatigue, works in her garden for hours without discomfort, and moves through the world with a physical confidence she had not felt in decades. People often say she looks 20 years younger, and Penelope knows it is not just appearance, but a deep source of vitality that has been reawakened from within. What changed in Penelope's story, you now seal into your own body. First, identify the physical marker that proves these codes have been integrated. Observe how your breath naturally shifts from your chest to your lower abdomen, creating an internal spaciousness that was not there before. Feel how your solar plexus, the region between your sternum and your navel, becomes less armored, less defensively tight. Your jaw relaxes spontaneously, releasing tensions you didn't even know you were carrying. Now, create your anchoring gesture. Place one hand on your chest and the other on your lower abdomen. Take 3 deep breaths, feeling your belly expand against your lower palm. Repeat this gesture anytime you need to reconnect with this new body memory. It instantly reactivates the state of regulation the 3 codes have established. This gesture works as a master key to instantly access a sense of groundedness and confidence. This is your point of return when life tries to pull you back into old patterns. Stand tall, feet planted firmly on the ground. Take a deep breath and say silently to yourself, "My body remembers its strength." This phrase, combined with conscious breathing and upright posture, immediately restores your connection to physical autonomy. Practice this simple ritual once a day. It is the maintenance that keeps you from slipping back into patterns of dependency and rigidity. Your true age is not measured by the number of years that have passed, but by the memory your body holds of how to move. When you reactivate these 3 ancestral codes, you are not just regaining mobility, you are awakening a source of vitality that had been lying dormant, waiting for the right moment to flow again. Each deep squat reconnects you to the earth's grounding force. Each conscious hinge releases decades of accumulated tension. Each movement that brings you up from the ground without support reaffirms your bodily sovereignty. Chronological time keeps moving forward, but biological time quietly begins to reverse. The stiffness you felt was never your fate. It was only a temporary forgetting of who you truly are. As Lao Tzu once said, nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. Your body has followed that same wisdom. It never lost the ability to regenerate. It simply waited patiently for you to remember the right codes. These movements are not modern exercises disguised as ancient wisdom. They are neurophysiological gateways your ancestors discovered through millennia of observation and embodied practice. When you perform them, you are not imitating the past. You are accessing an eternal present, written into your very cells. Your body is not a record of accumulated limitations, but a living library of infinite potential. There is a specific moment that arrives when you master these 3 codes. You realize that time is not your enemy. Instead of being chased by the years, you discover that you have always held power over how your body responds to the passage of time. Each breath that drops into your belly feeds a wellspring that never dried up. Each conscious movement rewrites the story your body tells about itself. You realize that you are not trying to become young again. You are discovering that you never stopped being the source of your own youth. And when this truth settles into your body, not just your mind, you understand that you have reached the end of a search that lasted decades. Youth was never a place to return to. It was a force waiting to be awakened. And now it has opened its eyes within you. If this content resonated with you, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. That helps us expand this field of knowledge even further. I would love to know how these codes are activating the source of youth within your body. Write in the comments, "I activate the hidden movements that rejuvenate my body." This affirmation seals your connection with the anti-aging codes that operate beyond the conscious mind. Share this video with someone you know needs to remember the source of vitality that remains intact within them. And do not stop here. Click on the screen and dive into another transformational video from the channel, because each code you activate brings you closer to the most regenerated version of who you are. Remember, your true age is the memory of your movements, and you have just awakened 3 codes that will help your body remember how to be forever young.